It's a beautiful statement. It says, when a man mentioned, when I was young, my father I would idolize. Then as I grew older, I would demonize. Then when I became a father, I learned to humanize. Like when you're younger, you idolize dad. But then when you get a teenager, you got it all figured out, right? You demonize him. He's messing up everything. There's one, yeah, there's one.
Baba, please stop. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's like, it's one brother, may Allah bless him. He didn't even realize what he said to me. I make it a point whenever I meet some of the shuyukh that I've known from that really affected me in my life, if I meet their children, I'll pull them to the side. And I'll say, "Assalamu alaikum." You don't know me, but, your dad had a huge impact in my life. What advice would you give me as a father that has children? I have children like you, So subhanallah. And if I meet the father of a sheikh, I get his advice as well.
Subhanallah.
So,
well, you got to share some of these tidbits with us.
Yeah. The one with the child or the son. He said in passing, because I remember he said, just when you're a dad, just be there, for your kids, just be there for your kids. And he said something so powerful. He said, when I was younger, dad used to come. I used to ask mama, when is Baba coming home? Because he was always out giving dawah, right? He said, but as I got older, I would ask, when is Baba leaving? That hit me like a ton of bricks, man. Like when I'm younger, when does Baba come home? But when I got older, whenever Baba come home, is when is Baba leaving? Because there's times I've sat and I've talked to my son in the car, and I stop myself. I said, am I giving you a khutbah? And he's like, yeah, Baba, you give me a khutbah, man. You give me a khutbah. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for a father to know that he has to be aware of his position, who he is. And then, but with authority, he has to know when to apply that authority and know that, my humble opinion, you don't want to continuously say that you're your son's friend. No, I'm your father. Friend is something else. I'm your father has a whole other position and a whole other chemistry in regards to your son. Father and friend is different. Father is a whole other position and name and responsibility. Yeah.
So be aware of your position as a father. Realize that whatever you do or don't do is being absorbed via osmosis.
Exactly.
And then because Baba does it, this is the only way to do it. Right or wrong. Right. This is just what kids are picking up. And the third thing was
authority. Yeah.
So can you go a little bit into authority, like as a man in your house? Right.
So authority really is, and we'll probably talk about it, but when talking about the man and the husband, because there's a couple of good books that talk about gender interactions or gender dynamics. And one thing that is important to know is that there's an overlap of the male and the female as far as their characteristics and, dare I say, their roles or responsibilities. Even in the Sharia, there's the ahkam al-shar'iyya is general. The rulings of Islam are general for male and female, but there are some that are specific for the male and some are specific for the female. Well, those that are specific for the male are those that we as men need to embrace and understand, because if not, the world will just lose control. It'll just be pandemonium. From them is protection and provision. So as a husband, as a father of your son, he needs to see that and know that you are the ultimate protector, that you are the one, that the house is the house and its presence is because of the father, and that society is because ultimately because of men, that they've built these structures and so on and so forth. Doesn't mean that women don't have any involvement in it, but if we were to say predominantly, who are the blue collar workers that are making these highways, these cars, all these structures that we live in and on, it is because of men. So there's a level of protection that the father holds, to where the son knows that dad would die for me, dad would die for mom, dad is willing to put his life on the line even for people in society, and that is a sign of a person that is honorable. And to provide, he's someone that goes out and uses a skill that brings value to people to bring some monetary gain, to bring home the falafel, right? We're going to take this falafel, not the bacon. And he'll bring home the brisket. Yani. He'll bring that home. So when he sees that, when dad says something to him to do, he knows that he's saying it and he's not asking it, because he's teaching him a number of principles that, the world does not care about you. You have to go out and you have to find your way to protect and to provide. And that's going to require a level of struggle. It's going to require a level of strength. It's going to require a level of of failure within all of that. So I think that will bring the level of authority, and it's going to be natural. It's not going to be something that he has to impose in the household, because if he has to do that, that means there's a compromise in his leadership. You see, so when he is someone that is naturally embodying masculinity, the authority will be there. But he is a father. Sometimes he'll have to know, and sometimes he will have to remind.
Check.
Yeah, there you go. He'll have to check his son, you know, and to letting him know that no, this is my house. I run this. You don't run this. You know, if you want to run something, I've given you the tools to do that, or you will be doing it. Oh, middle schooler that's 16 and is mad because I take your phone at night. There'll be a time where you'll have your phone and stuff, but as now in my house, it's my rules, right? That's the authority I'm talking about.
So when you say strength,
Yeah,
one of the things that we talked about, you're not just talking about physical strength,
No.
right?
Yeah.
You're talking about like mental fortitude, like controlling your anger, spiritual strength, mental toughness, that kind of thing. Like Baba is always, doesn't matter what is going on in the world, what is going on in the house, my father is always like, you know, like a pillar in the storm, right? That's kind of what you referring to?
Well, yeah, I mean, anything that I'm going to refer to is ultimately go back to the Sunnah of the Prophet. So, I mean, we see, and you know, just to make it clear, when we talk about masculinity, it's nothing different from Islam. Masculine, if one practices the Sunnah, they're going to be masculine. It's as simple as that, right? So, for instance, every word you said for example, you said spiritual toughness. I think you mentioned in the beginning.
It's like spiritual toughness.
Right. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-mu'minu qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kullihim khayr." We don't know it's al-mu'min al-qawi. The quwwah was attributed to iman, the strong believer, right? The belief is strong. And scholars mention the belief has to be strong. That's the most important portion, is that he has strong belief. But it doesn't negate that there's a physical belief or physical strength as well. But also when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, what he said, "Laysa ash-shadidu bis-sur'a, innama ash-shadidu alladhi yamliku nafsahu 'inda al-ghadab." He said that the harsh one is not the one that can wrestle. Rather, it's the one that can control themselves in times of anger. In this hadith, we see that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he debunked a common understanding of what the epitome of masculinity is. 25-inch biceps, can squat 600 pounds. That's not the epitome of masculinity.
Were those your numbers? Were those your numbers?
You get a serious face. Munir is my man, yeah.
Taking notes.
No, but that's not the epitome of masculinity. Like, if a sister wants to get married, if he's able to do that, oh yes, he must be masculine. No, it's not. That's not the case. The Prophet ﷺ said that he debunked that, because if someone that can wrestle and can hold people down and can submit people, that doesn't mean that he's totally masculine. It may be a characteristic of masculinity. It may be a sign of something masculine. But one of these greatest signs of masculinity is, as he completed, verily the shadid, the harsh one, is the one that can control their desires, or can control themselves in times of anger. But what's interesting here as well is that he acknowledged that there's anger in the man.